All right, you're not going to tell us what the offer is?
Well, the offer is that if you apply and buy one French coin, which is a little under a fifth of an ounce, for around $255 or $60, you get a full year's subscription for nothing.
Well, that's pretty good.
And if that isn't a hot deal, I don't know what is.
Okay, fine. Well, all right, there it is. Oh, and under any circumstances, I guess, as Bob Chapman, we're talking about what is going on in the world today financially. Now, the whole system of money is a confidence game. Certainly when money had real value, it was based upon gold and silver. It had intrinsic value, and people trusted it. But once they took the gold and then the silver backing away from money, why it became simply a confidence game. We're supposed to believe in it, and that's why they had to keep the price of gold and silver down. And they had to keep it down because, of course, if people began to see the price of gold and silver going up, they would realize that they were in a con game and they're going to have to protect themselves. And so basically, first of all, many of the major corporations, banks, J.P. Morgan, Chase, some of the big gold mines are working in concert to keep the price of gold and silver down. It should be, what do you think it ought to be today? Gold should be if it were really allowed to move in the market.
Well, it certainly would be over $2,400 an ounce, which would be official inflation since 1980. But unofficial inflation would have it between $700 and $7,500. So I'll go to a compromise and I'll say $4,000 an ounce without the interference we've seen.
All right, and then where would silver be under those circumstances?
Probably in the vicinity of $200 to $300 an ounce.
All right. Well, let's go to Will, who's calling from North Carolina. Again, our number 1-888-24-LIBERTY or 464-8295. And hi, Will. How are we doing?
I'm doing fine, Dr. Stan. Thanks for asking. I'm a new listener to your program. I've been listening to Mr. Chapman for a while now. I hear a lot of guys talking about gold and projections for what an ounce of gold is going to rise to. I don't hear too much about silver. I really can't afford the gold, so I've got a lot of silver, and I was just curious what Mr. Chapman thinks silver might be doing in the next year or two.
Well, I think that if we see $2,400 gold, silver should trade somewhere between $50 and $100. And but once $2,400 is broken and you cross $3,000 an ounce, then you're going to have an exponential rise in silver. I mean, the shortage in silver is far greater than it is in gold, but it's more dangerous. And is it or is it not a monetary metal? It was. Is it now? No. Could it be in the future? Yes. So there's a lot of mystery about really what silver would do. It's really hard to say. And, you know, it all depends on the situation. If we don't have a deflationary depression, although I think we will, for 5 years, if we continue to see inflation and hyperinflation, silver will go bananas. Just no question. On the other hand, if a year and a half or two from now we went into a deflationary depression, the question is how will it perform? And I don't think really anybody knows that.
So I guess we're just going to have to wait and see, Will.
Well, I certainly thank you for your time.
For the listener, and what you should be doing is buying those small coins. I know the premiums are high on them, higher than other bullion coins, but for $250 or $60, or in the case of a sovereign, which are around, I guess, $330, you can buy small gold coins, and I would do that.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Chapman.
Thanks very much for calling. And let's go to Chet, who's calling from Rochester. Well, I don't think we can get to him quite yet. Again, our telephone number is 1-888-24-LIBERTY. 1-888-24-LIBERTY or 464-8295. And, of course, what Bob says, and I think this is very important, is that J.P. Morgan has been one of the major factors in manipulating the price of gold and silver on the exchanges, but now J.P. Morgan Chase is being investigated by the Commodity Exchange, so that they've just got to stop doing what they've been doing dishonestly for such a long period of time. And said when they do that, then, of course, the price of gold and silver will be able to rise to where it should be. And, of course, we don't like to think that everything is manipulated. We don't like to think that there's dishonesty in government, but it's not our government. There is an invisible government out there, and they're the ones who are doing this. They're manipulating the stock exchange. They're manipulating the commodity exchange. They're manipulating gold and silver. They're manipulating our reality. Would that be a fair estimate, Bob?
That's a conservative estimate.
Oh, right.
It's been going crazy since 1988. And almost nobody in society knows about it.
Well, most people...
It's just unbelievable that this has been kept a secret that long. And now it's finally coming into the open. And Wall Street's known it, but nobody wants to talk about it, because as long as the market's going up, who cares?
And, of course, it's the Working Group on Financial Markets, the so-called Plunge Protection Team. The Working Group on Financial Markets that manipulates the markets. And you can check these things out on the Internet. Fortunately, why, of course, you can check anything we say, and you'll always be able to find it. Hopefully you'll be able to find it without any difficulty. Prior to the onset of the Internet, why, of course, there really was no way for the average individual to figure out what was going on. All of the major media outlets were pretty well controlled. But now, of course, many of them are failing. Even Newsweek's up for sale. The Washington Times is up for sale. Many of the major publishers are having real problems and closing down their magazines, and their newspapers are consolidating them. And so basically, if more and more people are getting their information on the Internet, I think this is certainly one of the greatest things for our country, don't you, Bob?
Absolutely. And their problems are a reflection of being controlled by advertisers for years and years and lying to everybody. And it's payback time. Most all of them are going to go under, and they deserve to go under.
Well, our telephone number is 1-888-24-LIBERTY. That's 1-888-24-LIBERTY. Let's go to Chet calling from Rochester, New York. Hi, Chet. How are you doing?
Good, Dr. Stan. How about yourself, sir?
Doing just fine, thanks.
Okay. I just had one question for Mr. Chapman, because I know he's an expert in the gold and silver market. I was wondering if, like, what they call junk silver is going to be good, towards the end-time race here, because for years I've collected, old Mercury dimes and Roosevelts and Washington quarters and stuff like that. Is that going to be good as, we race towards the financial collapse and, all the fiat money just runs away?
I think junk silver, 90% silver minted prior to 1964, is a terrific
Correct.
Silver investment.
It's okay.
I think it's the best investment today. And everybody knows what dimes, quarters, and the halves are. You get in a barter situation, everybody knows what they will know what they're worth. And that's my first recommendation. Period.
I didn't make a mistake then, because like I said, years ago, even when I was a kid, my dad taught me young that, keep the silver and stuff. I mean, I don't have a lot, but that is going to be a good barter tool.
It certainly is, and it's going to be a good participant tool in what's going to happen in the silver market. And so, you get both sides covered. It's terrific. I like them. And incidentally, there's been so many of them that have been melted down. I think 95%, and this is only a guess, but others in the industry corroborate what I say, they could become numismatic. They're semi-numismatic now, but nobody wants to talk about it because they want to sell silver eagles and other things with higher markups. The cheapest way to get into silver today is through the banks.